What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the Mets fall in game one of the doubleheader, 3-1 to the Baltimore Orioles in game 93 of the regular season. So, this one is simple, right? You could blame three. There are three ways you could go about blaming here. And to me, I think every single one of these, if you want to point the finger at these three different things, you're not wrong to. To me, I point the finger at all three of these things combined, resulting in this loss. Number one, this offense not hitting off of Charlie Morton at age 80 years old. You have Ryan Stanek, who cannot give you anything. He is incapable of completing innings. It is just that simple. And I'm so tired of watching him go out there the pitch because anytime, he has one of these really good outings every now and then, it's like maybe this will get him on the right foot, right? Nope. It never does. It just never happens with this guy. And then the other guy you blame is the manager who once again just has no feel for the game, and I'm getting sick of him, to be completely honest with you. And I'm sorry. I know they're playing better and they're winning games, but I'm just so tired of coming on here and just talking about decisions that he makes in these games that are questionable to me, because it feels like it's becoming a common theme. And it's one thing if, every now and then I'm coming on here talking about it, but it feels like it's becoming tradition. It feels like it's becoming an every post game thing that I am coming to this microphone, sitting in this chair, talking about something Mendoza did that is just very questionable. And a lot of the times, they are losing games because of these questionable decisions. And again, I don't want to completely blame him because, again, this offense needs to hit off of Charlie Morton, for crying out loud, especially in the first inning when you get 2 on with nobody out. You get guys on second and third because of a passed ball. Here's an opportunity to strike early and build off of what you had going in that last game where you rallied late and the offense didn't show up against another just horrible starting pitcher in Brandon Young. I mean, this going into the series, we talked about how this is one of the worst starting pitching staffs in Major League Baseball. And this is what you're doing against that pitching staff. Shame on you. Shame on you with the money that you're making. And again, you had an opportunity to open this game up early in the first with 2 on and nobody out, runners in scoring position. And then your two big guns and Soto and Alonso strike out back to back. Winker pops out. We wouldn't see him the rest of the game. And it just got reported that he's going to be getting an MRI. So we could be looking at another IL stint for him. And all I could say is that if he goes back on the IL, you have to acquire DH come the deadline. No more of this platoon DH garbage. I'm over the platoon DH thing. I've been over it before the season. I didn't want it. I wanted them to get Teoscar Hernandez. They failed to land him. I'm over the platoon DH thing. Go get me a guy that could be an everyday DH like a Josh Naylor. Or every now and then, maybe Marte gets in when he's back. Sort of thing. But not the platoon thing. No. Because you have two guys that literally cannot play the field and are just spending more time on the IL than playing baseball games at this point. I honestly think they're at that point where they're at more days on the IL, the two of them combined between Winker and Marte, than games played combined. But I digress. Looks like he's going to be out for a bit with a back injury. A back injury is no joke, and I'm just assuming that he's going to end up on the IL. Maybe nothing comes up, and maybe it does not matter in the end. But either way, I'm so annoyed with that. But either way, though, like I was saying, yeah, you have more opportunities too, because in the third inning too, there was a chance with 2 on and 2 outs. You get the benefit of the doubt from the error there from Jackson Holiday. Pete Alonso not beating out a ground out that he probably should have beat out. Vientos getting robbed at the wall in the 4th inning. And then you capitalize on the fact that the Orioles had some poor base running in the 4th. You throw out Laureano trying to go to third base. Great play by Taylor there. Nimmo makes a nice grab out in the outfield with 2 outs. And then in the 5th inning, Beatty walks, steals a bag. Tyrone Taylor tie 2 bags with a double to make it 1-0. And that was your offense the entire game. Wasted a leadoff double in the top of the 6th. You had a single from Vientos in the 8th. I mean, why is it that when the bottom of the order comes through, the top of the order just cannot do it? Drives me insane. And then in the 8th inning, Carlos Mendoza, once again, just no feel at all for the game. I'm. In what world would you rather face Gunnar Henderson than Luis Vasquez? Because you knew, everybody knew, if you pull Peterson, Gunnar Henderson's pinch hitting. It's that simple. If they were pinch hitting Gunnar anyway, okay, maybe there's a different conversation here. But you go to Ryan Stanek too, who has been, I'm sorry, he's been garbage. I don't care about every now and then him having the occasional good outing where he gets 3 strikeouts. None of that matters when it's bunched in with a bunch of garbage around it. Every single time, it is an adventure with this guy. Almost every single outing. Throwing nearly 40 pitches against the Yankees. Allowing the home run to Gunnar today. And all I think about is that game, I think it was the Washington finale, where all he has to do is get 3 outs with a 4-run lead to preserve the bullpen. And Edwin Diaz has to come in because this guy can't record an out. Or he recorded like 1 out that outing. So yes, you could blame the offense. Yes, you could blame Mendoza for pulling Peterson too early. I blame both. But once again, Ryan Stanek is not doing his job. And I don't want to hear about, I don't want to hear excuses for the guy. He is here to be one of the better arms in this bullpen. That is what he's being paid to do. That is what his role was going into the season. We talked about going into the season how you had a back end of the bullpen, especially with what we saw in October from Stanek, thinking, okay, you build on this, and maybe now he's comfortable as a Met. You build on what you got in October, and you got this nice back end with Diaz, Stanek, and Minter. Circumstances are circumstances. You lost Minter. Stanek had a bigger role then at that point, and he does. He is not fulfilling that role at all. Just garbage from him every time. He cannot complete innings or record. He can't record outs. He can't record outs. Barely, at least. And then once he walks as many batters as he does, he walks 4 batters, that's when they decide to pull him. Not after the 3 walks. You would think after 1 and after he allowed the home run, okay, maybe we pull him. Nope. Okay, maybe the 2nd walk, right? No. Maybe the 3rd walk. No. And then Laureano gets a sac fly, 3-1. And then you knew with a 2-run lead, Felix Bautista and this offense, you knew they weren't scoring. You knew they weren't. This offense, yet again, just letting them down. And I was starting to praise the fact that this offense was actually starting to maybe show signs of getting out of what they were in. But between game 1 of this series where they couldn't hit off Brandon Young, and now this game where you can't hit off Charlie Morton, it's like right back to, okay, what is this offense? Are they going to, like, could they show consistency, please? So, again, to me, this loss simply falls on 3 different shoulders. The entire offense. So I guess more than 3, because 9 10 guys, whatever you want to say. Um, falls on every single player that had to swing a bat today for the Mets. It falls on Carlos Mendoza for having no feel for his starting pitcher, pulling him when he's at 90 pitches because he allowed a single. We got to pull him after a single. Meanwhile, he'll leave starters in after loading the bases up sometimes, which makes no sense. And then Ryan Stanek, the hook's not quick with him though, right? He's allowed to walk 4 batters and then we pull him, not pull him after 3 walks or even 2 walks and allowing a home run. I just don't understand the way that he dictates the leash between guys. And then Ryan Stanek, of course, gets blamed because all year he's been a complete and utter train wreck when they need him to be better. Just so exhausting watching this guy come in and do this every outing, it feels like. This is from Mets Mesmerized, or Metsmerized on Twitter, rather. Ryan Stanek has needed 68 pitches to get his last 5 outs. Over those 2 appearances, he's walked 6, allowed 2 hits, and allowed 4 runs to score. He's just not pitching well. He's not. And you could blame the offense for taxing the bullpen as well. But Ryan Stanek is part of the bullpen getting taxed because his inability to pitch an inning requires other guys to have to pitch. And in terms of what Mendoza said about pulling Peterson, all he said is uh, he did his part. No accountability, no saying, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have pulled him. He did his part. Right. And Brandon Waddell starting the second game. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be pretty much a bullpen game then, for the most part. And then Ryan Stanek, I mean, no accountability from him either. Just going to the media saying, besides a couple of ugly ones, I think I've thrown the ball pretty well overall. Trying to stay away from the big, ugly ones is more. Sorry, I need water for a second. Trying to stay away from the big, ugly ones is more conducive to putting up overall good numbers. Sorry, started choking there before. But either way, yeah, no accountability from Stanek either. You would think that he would, say that he's not been good, but okay, sure. If you think so, if you think so, with your 40 pitch outings and your multiple walks throughout your outings, all right. The thing is that he doesn't believe in his guys because why are you pulling David Peterson that early? So I don't know. That's the thing. Like all we hear is that he's a player's manager and he believes in his guys, and then he does stuff like that, and it's just so annoying. All right, I'm gonna wrap things up here. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. I'll see you guys after game 2.